Yes. Hello. There we are. How are you guys doing? There he is. Yes. Nice. How are you doing, Davey? Welcome. Just need to pop up these. You already have some submissions, some tracks to listen to. Sophist, how are you doing? Malogify. Ambrosia, welcome. Ambrosia. Matthias. Zen Lion. Hello everyone. Claus. Tesla. Marco. A lot of people here today already. Nice. We have some tracks to listen to already. As always, you guys can submit your own tracks already through the feedback on stream section on my Discord, where you can just post your track. Wait, what happened here? Didn't this guy upload as well? I don't remember. Anyway, we'll start with the Tesla one. And you? I'm doing fine, yes. I'm doing really good. Today is a very good day for me, like the channel-wise, because one of my shorts is popping off. So I'm happy for that. I also got a lot of work done, just in general. The track that I worked on yesterday, I finished it and recorded the video on the breakdown for it. So that's going to be coming out soon. I still have some videos from before my vacation, I think even. Maybe? I don't remember. I might have recorded another one. I'm missing today, see you. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm glad you let me know, actually. But it's an organic Afro house, so I don't know. Just send it over. I'll listen to anything. It doesn't have to be psytrance. For the people new here, I do only do psytrance on my channel. But that doesn't mean that during the feedback streams you cannot submit other stuff. In fact, I actually like stuff like ambience and stuff like that as well. Mtr J, how are you doing? There's more people. I should greet more people. Elat Hajbi, I'm sorry. Welcome. Oh, that might have been it. I don't know. Either way, you guys, anyone can submit anything they want in the feedback on stream section on my Discord. The bot should wake up at some point. It normally sends a message when it wakes up, but it tends to take a while now. Let's try it. Let's see if it's awoken from its sleep. Yes, there it is. So it doesn't send messages anymore, I guess, when it wakes up. But either way, you will join the Discord up here. You'll probably be placed here when you first open it up, where you can add my music to your playlist, which I would really like if you did that. Then you can scroll down all the way over here, feedback stream, and then you just post your link in here. It can be a SoundCloud link, can be a file. I would like it if I can play it directly either from Discord or from the browser, so no WeTransfer. Google Drive like this is fine, because Google Drive, when I open it up, has the player in here. Right, it should open up right here with the player, and I can just play it from there. Dropbox also works fine. OneDrive works fine. But WeTransfer, stuff like that, I have to download it on my computer and then play it from there, and that usually takes a little bit of extra time, and it's just unnecessary. So if you guys can avoid it, then that would be nice. Zweep, how are you doing? Very nice username. Jana Cookie, how are you doing? Name very closely resembles my aunt, who actually did a lot for me in terms of music. She got me the computer music magazines. So that would have been fun if she wasn't watching this, but I don't know if that's her. I don't think it is. It's like closely resembling the name, but not exactly. Anyway, we'll start with the first track. This is Tesla, Stop Thinking, which I won't do. Actually, I'll have to think for this during the stream. But either way, this is Tesla, and let's see what you have in store for us today. Yes. Nice sound design here.
Most people nowadays say I have no time. Of course you don't. Because you're not aware of the present. You think ordinarily of the present.
The volume of the vocals are good, but one of the things that you can do for a little bit more clarity is, for example, in your main lead, remove the high frequencies, right? So maybe low pass it at like 3-4K, and some of the other elements as well, so that the higher frequencies of your vocal come out more. Unfortunately, I'm a hairy Finnish dude. And I started getting straight into it. It's very high energy from the start. Something Eclipse has been talking about a lot in his review series, which I really enjoy, by the way. I guess the high energy start kind of works well with the style. It's something that Eclipse says, and that I should probably also mention more in my feedback streams, even though I don't have any stage experience. But what he found is that when it comes to people dancing, they go the hardest when it's just clean kick and bass.
This is where the creation begins.
So maybe from here. In this case, I would maybe not go to this high energy part here. To be honest, I wouldn't do it in the intro, but... I guess it's a style thing. It can work for the style. It's more of like a semi-Goa thing, I would say. The rest of the mix-wise and that kind of stuff it's all perfect. It sounds really nice. Maybe a little bit harsh on the mid-range you're going. Yeah, something like this. This, I would open up the track with this. Like, this is the first kick and bass that you hear. I think it was clean. I wanted to pause it, but it went by too fast, I guess. Nice and clean. Of course, the sound is also very good. But I always do a little waveform check as well. Is it okay if I post slower stuff? Yes, of course. Anything. You can post anything. I once made a joke that you could fart into a microphone and I'll react to it. And I'll give you constructive criticism on the fart. Any type of music should be okay.
I mean real silence.
So here the vocal really comes through, which is good, right? And then here it has already like issues again towards the end of it. You really need to make space for vocals, especially in like the middle high frequencies. Even if you EQ some other elements out a little bit. I said before you could do like a low pass, but even just a cut in some of the other elements. Alright, recording at 125 BPM fart. I would love to see you try to get the BPM exactly right.
moment is the only real time. There is no past, and there isn't a future. There isn't a future. There isn't.
So, did you hear how when the synth dropped out, the vocal was much more understandable? That's kind of what I mean. That's the effect that we want to go for. Overall, the final thing that I would say, I said before the mid-range is maybe a bit heavy. I think the synths might be a bit loud. The other thing that I noticed with the synths is that they are getting a little bit repetitive in that it's the same sound design over and over again. Make sure your farts on post bingo. Yeah, here we have some new sound design. I would have loved to hear this earlier in the track, and then maybe one or two more, like really different synths. You know what I mean? I like that. Nice transition into this plucky sound here. I think the thing that this track is missing, or maybe your process is missing, which might be something to consider, is one-shots. Because even the things that I heard before... Okay, I don't know if I like this, where the drums just suddenly go out on the bass as well. I don't know if I like that last part, but what I wanted to say about the one-shots is that it feels like there aren't any like real one-shots in there. Right, it feels like what you did for your one-shots, even in the parts where the track is a little bit more calm and you don't have all of the drums in there and all of the high energy stuff and all of the synths and whatever. It's just like playing small snippets of the synths. When it comes to... I can quickly show this. When it comes to like my template, which I should have somewhere. Templates, latest version here. If you look into the groups, right? There's the drums, the basses, the synths, one-shots, pads, effects, and vocals. And for the most part, when it comes to like sequences to one-shots, I would say that I have usually double the amount of one-shots that I have in sequences. And that's just because when it comes to a one-shot, like a sequence, it plays, let's say that it plays, I don't know if this, no, this is not 16 bars. If a sequence plays 16 bars, right? I'm gonna have a one-shot maybe here, right, and then I'll have a different one shot over here. So you rank up a lot of different sounds. One of the cool things that you can do is that you can play a lot more with the placement and the effects on these sounds. So if I were to say, okay, I'm going to duplicate this to here, that this section and this section is like symmetrical, then I can make this one a little bit different from this one, but still use the same sound. And that way you don't have to do as much sound design. Even though you're making more sounds, because you get to play with them and use them in different parts, you essentially don't have to fill this up with a whole bunch of different synth sounds. What you now have is that you have 2-3 sequences playing at the same time. And then what you would have in this case with the one-shots is that you have your main sequence, maybe 1 or 2 supporting sequences that really just sit in the background. And then your one-shots are actually kind of carrying the energy a little bit more, right? So usually in these cases where I have an actual sequence, I'll go for something like this, where I may have like, can I extend this please? Hello? Yes, maybe like a sweep up into an impact sound. Maybe I'll have another sweep down sound like right here. And then this is the same impact sound again. So you create this kind of, okay, sweep up into this section here. We sweep down from this section here. So you create this kind of impact here, impact here, impact here, impact here. And that helps with flow for the track. So that's the last tip that I would give you in regards to the music. When it comes to your style though, it is not as important because I think your style is very inspired by like old school Goa. And I don't think they do it in the more old school Goa kind of style. Can I send a track too? Yes, of course. You should already have the link to the Discord, and then you just scroll down to feedback on stream and you post it right here. So I hope that the feedback helps. Overall, I did really like the track. The sound design is good. You'll just have one of the things that you have to do with these tips that I give you is you have to apply them to your kind of context, because they're always going to come from what I like and what I do in terms of my style of psytrance, I guess. But for the more Goa style, what I'm saying about the one shot might not be the case. Right? To be honest, I don't know Goa. I haven't looked into it at all yet. It is on my bucket list. I'm still working on high-tech stuff. So I'm going to finish that high-tech EP sometime in the future. I don't know, it may take many more months. And then I might look into Goa or any other subgenre. I want to go through all of the subgenres, but that's like long-term projects, right? Partially so that I can be more in the know of certain genres and stuff when it comes to giving feedback. I just want to try to make everything in that regard. Yeah, adding the multi-layered effects and one-shots always adds that special X factor and character. Yes. Yes. But anyway, I hope that even if it doesn't really apply my feedback to your style, I guess, that it still helps. Anyway, next up we have Better Message with Eternal Voices in Progress. And now with Clean Kick and Bass, Hope So, and second part. Nice. This is Matthäus. Nice attention grabbing sound at the beginning. This is really good for Spotify. Yeah, that looks fairly clean. The phase alignment, you could maybe try to remove this peak. That may help you in the mixing. I don't know if that's gonna be... I think the phase alignment is actually fine. It might be just the way that they mix together. You could actually do a little bit more processing, then resample, and then that should fix out a little bit. Overall, I do believe that your kick can also be a bit louder. You could increase the kick 2 dB. That's also going to slightly remove the problem a little bit, I guess, because then the kick becomes relatively louder to the bass. But that spike is going to cause you issues once you get into mastering. If that happens on every kick, like it's looking like it's now. To me, this just looks like a clean saw wave. And to be honest, when it comes to these things, I wouldn't go for a clean saw wave. I would introduce some phase shift into them, especially if you're going for that dark kind of feeling. It just tends to sound better. It also brings out the click a bit more, which I'm a little bit lacking in your bass line. What I'm also lacking a little bit in this mix is some high frequency bite. Right, you have your high frequencies in here, the hats, but I would really love to see a little bit of a bump in the spectrum here. Kick and bass could be compressed together and maybe some more release on the bass perhaps. Well, when it comes to, like, if you want to tackle the spike, then no, I would just try to fix that in the design of your bass line. With the release, yeah, I do agree. It could be a little bit longer maybe. Although, you would need to clean that up again, right? So you would have the bass kind of go like this and then just fade out faster. Virtual recordings, how are you doing? Need scratch some more hi-hats and stuff. There is a snare in there, but it's barely audible. I do agree that it needs more volume, I guess. Also the open hat. The open hat needs to really bite, right? That's the groove, that's the offbeat that needs to bring the power, and it's not doing that right now. So that it definitely could be a bit brighter. If I were to recommend the plugin for that, a free plugin recommendation by the way, I will tackle a problem like this with Lufticus. You set it to 40k and then you just boost here. You won't hear a difference because that's not how my audio works. But if you boost this up to around this area, that should fix your hi-hat issue. You just do that on your top loops and that should fix like all of the high frequencies for closed hat, open hat, and even the snare. But I also think that the snare could be a little bit higher in volume itself. I think the thing that is too loud for me in this mix are mainly the atmospheres. I kinda agree a little bit with Noctuned, in that the main synths could be a little bit louder too. But here really the atmospheres are overpowering the kick and bass. Do you hear that? Right, they start to dictate the rhythm and everything that's happening. Even that sound there, right? The one that goes up and down, the wow kind of thing. There's no power in the kicks or variation. There's a little bit of variation throughout the track. There's some kick fills there. Maybe a few extra like complexities to it. I'm having a video coming out on complexities very soon. I do agree that the change is very sudden. We had a completely different vibe a little while back to the track, I would say. At least from what I can remember now. I love this atmosphere, this glassy one here. There is a lot of attention to detail, so I do really like the production side of things. It's the mixing that needs work. I love this idea. The little vocal thing there. Also the bass line seems lower than it was in the beginning, so maybe you're doing a little bit of storytelling through that as well, like you're going darker. I can imagine that this would be a nice like type of track to have, where throughout the track you're kind of lowering the key if you want to use it in a set to transition from maybe a higher key section of your set to a lower key section of your set. I don't know though. I personally wouldn't change keys throughout the track, but maybe it works for this style. This is more dark than what I usually make. Overall, I think dark side, a lot of it is either D sharp or C sharp, so you probably want to stick around that area. The kick needs more click. Click maybe not so much. Punch. I would say, right? The kick should probably sound like... do I have a... something like this. I have some other one as well, right here. Yeah, something like that. Something that really has like an impact, like more punch to it. I felt like the kick itself was a little bit too deep. I do think it's a very good production. When it comes to the production, by the way, when I say stuff like this with the mixing, I never really do this. I never really tell you guys this kind of thing. There was supposed to be like a big post for it and stuff like that. But I did recently start providing mixing services. So here a little bit of a plug. I updated my website. I don't really use my website a lot, but you can read here my mixing services PDF. And then you'll be guided to everything you need to know about what I do. And maybe with productions like these, maybe you're not in the right like listening environment or something like that, or you just don't have the experience with mixing. If you want to put that, the production is fine, right? So the production part of the creation of the track is there. It just needs proper mixing and mastering, in my opinion. And I think it needs an end as well. Like, it's not completely finished. I think that's also why it's called Eternal Voices in Progress, and not just Internal Voices, I hope. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm rambling a bit. Anyway, so yeah, what I want to say here is if you want, like, I can do the mixing for you. It's just a little bit of a plug. It just has to happen sometimes. But I do offer mixing services for those that are interested in that. You can just hit me up on either Discord or my email, projectorofficial@gmail.com, to get in contact with me about that. And I'll try to do my best. I mean, I will do my best. I'll provide you with a good mix. I'm pretty confident in my mixing abilities. Anyway, T. Bruccio, track from my EP to feedback PS. Try to apply the feedback that you gave me on the other track. Hope the mix sounds better now. This is Thai Beats, the flight instructions, Psytrance, Ma. I don't see the rest of the file name. I'm assuming that means master, which I'm happy that the track is mastered. That means that it's finished. At least in your eyes. Little bit of reverb on that. Here as well to keep it from being boring. It can ring out, right? Also with a delay here. You can have it ring out a lot further because you don't really have any high-end content there. You can just fill up that space. Nice musical build-up there. I like it. I do think the bass impact is maybe a little bit too loud. And here it's hard to understand what is going on. Here I would try to choose one main lead that you want to shine through and just mix the others a little bit lower. The kick is too long, it's cutting into this bass note here, it shouldn't do that. Also, it's in G1, which is an octave too high. The bass line should be an octave lower, in my opinion. For G kicks, or for G tracks, you should go down, especially at this BPM. I have to send the track here from YouTube or in Discord. You have to send in Discord. YouTube won't allow for links, and I want to have everything in order as well. there's a little bit too much stuff happening for my liking. I think also mix-wise there's some masking issues, like you're not really prioritizing different elements, right? All of the elements are just kind of there at the same level in terms of your lead elements and all of the sequences and synths and one-shots and stuff that you have in there. It should be kick, bass, drums, main lead, supporting elements, supporting sequences, supporting leads, your one-shots, that kind of stuff, and then effects and stuff like that. And vocals are somewhere high up.
If you feel like you're going crazy,
here, for the vocals, you would need to make space in the higher frequencies, because that's where we have the understanding of it.
go with it. Surrender. Relax your mind and float downstream. Even when
Should I share the track under stream discussion? No, please. In
they confront dark things,
feedback on stream.
confront trauma.
Oh. You can share track right here, Stain. Hello, can I send track? Yes. I'm sorry for the playback stopping, that's
How do I avoid having bad?
not intentional. I just saw that there was a message there and I wanted to
Some really helpful advice.
check it out. I need to stop doing that when I'm playing directly from Discord.
A flight instruction. If you feel like you're going crazy, dying, melting,
It's been a while indeed, welcome back.
don't fight it. Go with it. Surrender. Relax your mind and float downstream.
Honestly, I think the effects are a little bit too crazy on the vocals as well.
Things that may happen, you may confront.
Part of the reason why this is hard to mix as a vocal is because you're really mangling up the high end of it. Like now we come to a revelation, right? The delay is coming out and that's like a big moment, something that you should imprint on your mind, but I have no idea what, because I didn't hear what he was saying, because there was too much going on in the mix. This is really good. I like this. Kick is still too long, but at least the bass is in the right octave.
Psychedelic experience.
Even here, the vocal is playing on its own and it's hard to understand because of all of the mangling that you're doing. You can turn that down a little bit. And you can personally also do a waveform check, right? If things are messed up, like this doesn't look good, right? You can see it going in here. There's... I don't know what's happening to that kick. I can't see it anywhere else. That now it's starting to look a little bit cleaner. It's still, the kick is post-stringing or it's too long for the beat. I like the sound of this. Could have more drums on top. The hi-hat that you do have there is a little bit short and even this hi-hat doesn't really convince me. I would prefer just a simple 909. Damn, I don't understand where I have to send the track. You just come into the Discord, scroll down, feedback on stream here, and then you post right here. Exclamation point feedback will bring you to the Discord if you aren't in there yet. I've really been diving into the study. I mean, you have to have your priorities, right? Is EQ better recording twice, input and out? I don't know what you mean there. Could you elaborate on that, Wayne? Also welcome to the stream, by the way. There's nothing driving, yes. I agree. That's why I said that that hat was not really convincing me. Here you have two main elements. I would just stick to the plugs there. Or to this asset thing if you want to keep that. Just use one of the two. the delay doesn't match what the vocal was doing before in terms of its rhythm, which is a bit strange. A sudden boost in high end.
Flight instruction.
Here the bass is back with some sub, at least. Still not very clean, like you need to spend some time cleaning up everything. You're using a lot of different bassline ideas, which makes it harder, I know. But you need to record them into audio. I'm just submitting today to get back into it, don't look too close at the cleanliness and such. Oh, I will. That's what I'm here for. No, just kidding. I can just put more... I can also put much more work in the intro and make more of a story. We'll see. Both of you guys submitted, made a deal. That's fun. That's nice. I agree, yes, it's too complex. In my opinion, there's always too many elements playing, for one. And there's also too many grooves in this track, I feel like. Like now we're going to this higher octave kind of bass line, which I don't agree with. I would, for your first and third drop, just use a rolling bass line. Take this bass line, lower it an octave, and just keep it nice and rolling, nice and steady. And also either revise your mix to give priority to individual elements in individual sections of the track, or just remove some elements if it's still not possible to do that, because I do feel like the track is too busy. This bass line is the same as the first one. Yes, I know. But before it wasn't. I mean, your sound design is very good. You're going a little overboard with the amount of elements that you're putting in there. Here the bassline is definitely different. Here it's lower. Maybe it's playing just a different melody and it's the same patch, but it's still like a different bassline idea, because this is melodic and after that it wasn't. It's like Eclipse setting is recent review. It's very easy to go overboard. Can I send FLAC file? Yes, as long as I can just play it from from Discord or from the URL. That's okay. To me, I think it's too complex. To me, I think you're trying to do too much. I had a student that had the same issue. It's a really hard mindset to get away from, but he managed to do it. It took us a year of on and off lessons and stuff like that to finally get that through to him. It's really hard to do too much. I guess the best guide that I can give you is the thing that I've said many times before, is you have your kick and bass, whatever section that you have, right? So it would be a bar of 16. Let's say that you're working in 16 bar sections. First, what I would try to do is any section, just make a fill. Always standard 1 bar, but you can do it differently, whatever you want. So that would be like your structure, right? And then you just go in. You've determined the energy level, because that is going to determine what you need. So you'll have your kick and bass, and then you'll have your low energy drums, which is usually the closed hats, maybe the closed hats on the offbeat, and like a snare or a smaller version of your snare. And then your basic structure will look something like this, right? So first one is going to be kick and bass. Second one is going to be kick and bass with some slower drums, some slower stuff. And then you're going to have your high energy drums. in here, and this is going to be like the high energy stuff, right? So this is where you put on your main sequences. You'll have your supporting sequence here, whereas here you tend to have only really like supporting sequences, and then I'll name this later so you can save it as like a screenshot or a template. Here, throughout this stuff, you tend to have one-shots. One-shots, support sequence, sequences, and this is a main sequence. Now I say main sequence when it really comes down to, let's say that you want to do another high energy section for your track. What you'll do is you'll do another main sequence like this. So this will be main sequence number 2. Right? And then you just write your track out like this. You just alternate here. At some point you're gonna say like, okay, this is getting boring. I want to go back down to maybe the lower drums, or maybe no drums at all, just the clean kick and bass. And then you'll get back into like the one shots or maybe some atmospheres, that kind of stuff. When it comes to getting, so first of all, what I would do is I would start with this kind of setup, right? 16 bars, fill at the end, not maybe even always the same length. You could go with one that is like, I don't know, 2 bars long if you need a little bit more time to transition to the higher energy level that you have here. For something like this where you want to keep the energy up, you might say, oh, I'm just going to do a very short one here where it just kind of stops here. Usually what you'll find is that then there's still a kick here, but the bass is just missing for one note or for one beat. And then everything is just like walking up to the line here, and sometimes even just kind of goes into here, right? So like it continues. Usually not the drums. Usually the drums stop here so that you do have an indication that something is happening here. And then you just go into the next bit. From here, from this workflow, once you have this down, once you're able to make music just like this out of like these blocks here, you can start to vary the length of different things, and you start to do more complex stuff. You can maybe say, oh, I want to do a little build up here. I'll make a little build up there. This section needs a little bit more time. I don't have enough space to do the musical idea that I want to do. You know what? I'll use 1.5 sections for this. I'll do something a little bit more crazy like that, right? Because this structure-wise, you're kind of breaking the structure here. But this is the idea. This is how you lay out a track. This is how you lay out some sidetracks. How do I send a link? Anyone, do you have to give your phone number? I don't know. I think so. For Discord maybe, not for my server. Once you get in here, if you don't have a Discord account, then maybe you need it for Discord. But if you do have a Discord account, once you get in here, you don't have to give your phone number. No. I'll actually keep this because this is a nice explainer. I'll save that somewhere later. Bam. Might become useful for a tutorial one day, that kind of stuff, right? Or for a private lesson, that's usually where you get to use these things. Claus is leaving me hanging. We agreed we'd submit if the other one does. I did see that, yes. I've been making music for over 20 years and I feel like I have a lot of bad mindsets that will need to be worked on, since there was no teacher or YouTubers back then when I did the most learning. I mean, when it comes to these things, this is my mindset, and I found that this works to get me to the kind of structured track that I'm after, and other people seem to enjoy my music. Cheers, mate. Is this on every week? Yes. I have a shitty computer for real. No excuses, like you said. Just fix the damn computer. When it comes to like my mindset, this works for me, just this very structured approach of doing things and then slowly trying to break away from the structure. I have been breaking away from it more and more and more, and that has led me to some good results as well. But what I've found is that even when I'm breaking away, if I try really hard, I can always explain it in terms of my structure and stuff like that. But overall, like the structuring stuff is really, really important for your track. And I think that the track that we last heard had some issues there. I'm 100% certain that I have faults that are keeping me back. No irony, no sarcasm here. I understand, but everybody has their own way of working to the... It doesn't, like, the way that, or the mindset that I have with really structuring out the things that I do. Because I really, when I write music, I have one of these, you guys have seen it, I have one of these structure tracks in my project, and I lay out everything that I do before I actually go in and like fully write the piece, at least most of the time. I am like very structured like that. That doesn't mean that that's the best approach. It's just one approach. If you still get good music at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is this on every week? Yes. I think I already answered that. Claus has a quantum computer, but he doesn't want us to know. He has a quantum computer, so it both works and doesn't work. There's a quantum joke for you. I know some quantum. Can't sec flag file because of larger file converting to MP3 using the web. That's good. That's perfect. I have as well 24 years, mostly one on huge build in MIDI casual, but I've got MIDI loans and I have no idea what that means. Okay. I really like the idea of this track. I'll try to get the second drop and make a new track out of it. With this structure and mindset. Yes, I agree with Ambrosia. Ultimately, the mindset doesn't matter. What matters is the end result. How often do you get beat block? Beat block, as you mean like writer's block, where you just cannot write anything? Klaus's computer can be at 2 places at once, yes. I mean, when it comes to writer's block, I haven't had one in a long time. Like where I really for several days cannot write anything, or just the things that I write just don't work. I haven't had one in, I would say, a couple of months. But when it comes to like, sometimes you just have a day where you're off. And what do I do, or how often does that happen? Weekly, I guess. And that's usually the day that I edit or I prepare stuff for videos. Like there's a lot of other things that I have to do that aren't necessarily creative in like my weekly routine that I have. I guess it is not really weekly, it's just kind of the routine of making the 4 or 5 videos that I need to make for the next time, right? And then just making all the videos or making some shorts or stuff like that. I can just prepare those things in advance. I can work on some other things. I can work on some more or less creative stuff like mixing. That tends to work when you have a writer's block because that's technically like less creative. As it's hard to keep coming up with new ideas. I haven't had that issue in a long time. I've had this last week and a half with the track that we wrote yesterday, which as I said I finished. It's fully mixed and mastered. I just did that in the project. I'm not gonna export that to Reaper and everything. But I just mixed and mastered in the project. When it comes to that track, together with 2 other tracks in the last week and a half, I have finished like 3 productions. Start to finish, just starting a project, writing a whole idea, and then just finishing the production. Obviously I have to go through the details of the other 2 tracks. But but that last track is really just completely finished. I just finished it. It's not that big of a project, so it didn't really matter. It's just for a video. Anyway, next up is Histro with Man Who Isn't an Artist, Showroom. So the guy's name is Histro. I'm sorry if I don't say it properly, but I'll never say that properly. I know that's an issue. Hello? Okay. I should be back. We're dropping out there for a little bit, but I should be back. Anyway, the next track is Man Who Isn't an Artist with Showroom. So the artist name is Man Who Isn't an Artist, which is ironic, but okay. And the track is Showroom. This is 160 BPM in B. So this is actually a very slow track for his style, but we'll see what he's made here. There was a problem playing this audio file. What if I reload the page? Yay! There we are. I like that. The bass line is a little bit too open, it could be a bit more plucky. One of the things I know, it's clean. At least there's that. Right, you can see it returning here, you can see it returning here. Here we cannot really see because of the other stuff happening, but I'm sure that if it's returning here, then it's resampled and all nice. What I did miss, what I wanted to say in the intro, but I just kind of let it go, is that you had a lot of swooshes down, but not a lot of things going into it, going up. Right, so like you had this white noise splash that just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Honestly, I'm not a fan of the ARP in here. I would just delete it. You already have like elements in there. Snare is a bit on the long side. It also has this weird kind of plop happening. I don't know if I like that. I just like my snares to be like very noisy and very short and snappy. And especially at the higher BPMs you have to have really short snares. Oh, some people do like to have the ARP. What did I say? Some people do like the ARP. There's some crazy things happening there. I'm at least glad that that's not the kind of feel where what you used to have, where you just stop the kick and bass for one beat and then it just comes back in. Because I don't know if I'm a fan of that, just the random pauses all the time. Like here I would put the drum fill, right? Instead of just pausing completely, just put the drum fill there. Maybe even for 2 beats or 4 beats, like a bar. Towards the end there, it started to distort a little bit because you're filtering it so low, and then with the Q that you probably have on your filter, it's starting to or at least gets a little bit boomy. Yeah, I still think that the bassline is a little bit too open. It can work, but aesthetically I like my bassline to have a little bit more pluck. Like from a technical standpoint, this kick and bass is okay. I I do like this ARP. This ARP is a lot better. It's a bit more complex. Then here I would not reintroduce the ARP this way. I would go to a different element here then. Or just fully focus on the FM synths and that kind of thing. Nokia ringtone title art, yes. Man who is pretending not to be an artist. I mean, he's definitely an artist if he's making this, right? Also, are you clipping it this hardly, or is this just pristine mixing and sound design that is making this already squashed? Or is it mastered and I'm just turning it down somewhere? I don't know. I like this. This is a little bit more off rhythm. Everything I've heard up until this point from you, even the tracks before that, you were doing a lot of stuff in rhythm, right? So something like that. It tends to be the case that for a lot of sidetracks what you'll see is that the rhythm isn't just straight 16 notes or straight 8 notes, that kind of thing. Crazy stuff. I do like that. What I think you can improve in terms of your rhythm is to stay away from so many 16 notes. Good tool for that. Another quick shout out is if I go into my MIDI stuff, good tools for that are the stuff from Altar of Wisdom, stuff like Autogrid. This is, I think, a must-have if you. This is, I think, a must-have if you're doing anything like really psychedelic, if you're trying to generate those very random rhythms and that kind of thing. An alternative for this is the equally awesome Rhythmizer by Futurephonics. Or Futurephonic, I guess. These guys also, it's the same kind of thing, it just works a little bit differently. This one doesn't have a predetermined seed, whereas the Altar of Wisdom one works, for one, this sends its output to 8 different channels and you have to actually take output from the receiver. So there's the receiver thing here that and then takes that output and actually sends it to the device that you want. But here the main thing that I like is that you have a set seed which determines all of the randomness happening here. So it will always play back in the same way. Need some water? I don't need water. I do have a drink here, even though this looks like a camera lens. It's actually a cup. You guys must have wondered why I was always sipping on the camera lens, but it's a cup. The magic is gone. Did you get my track Ghost by Hubbub? Let's see. I have many tracks to listen to. We have Toxic Minds here. Staying here, yes. You can place it here. Perfect, yes. We have some other tracks, and then Hubbub, here you are, yes. So I did receive your track. I need to speed up a little bit, I can tell. I am not getting through these fast enough. So with that being said, next up we have Toxic Mind Phonomaniacs. I can see where you got the idea for the name. I would low pass this pad/atmosphere that you have in here. Then your other elements are going to come throughout a little bit more. Because now there's just this kind of washed out noise on top of everything. Also, I would take care of some of the rumble that you have in the lower frequencies here. I thought that was a build-up, but it sounds like it isn't. Oh. I don't like this kick and bass. For one, it's not clean at all. Two, it's way too bass heavy, this track. Look at this. This should roll like right here, not up here. This is way too bass heavy. I also don't like the transient of the kick. I cannot really hear any of the other elements. That your track, Bass Half, the Toxic Mind one? One of the things you need to look at is also resampling, right? Because the kick is being destroyed also by the bass transient, and the bass is being destroyed by the kick here. The kick is kind of continuing into the bass. So you need to resample, and then you need to not use any more filters. Also, again, there you have some low-end rumble issues, which you probably don't want. Like, the mix balance is completely off here. You would need to shift it, tilt shift it like 3 dB either side for this to work. And even still then, like, the hi-hats could have more presence. Okay, here you cannot hear anything. This is just insane. I cannot hear anything else properly other than just bass. Sounds are not loud. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but this is really poor. Yes, this is beginner level stuff here. That's the way that I would say it. It clearly screams beginner. Even the little bit of sound design that I was able to hear, there was some kind of melodic synth a while back. Even the melodies that it's playing, it sounds beginner-ish. The way that you're just arranging it and creating the patterns that create the melody. But your main issue is just balance. Balancing between different elements, balancing loudness, and most importantly, determining what the frequency should be.
Is anyone out there? 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 Anyone out there?
Now there is a good vocal mix, and there's some really crazy ambience going on here.
That has been disconnected or no longer in use.
And then we go back into this massive bass thing here, which I don't understand. It's because the intro didn't suggest like beginners to me, and also this break here, apart from just the massive amount of bass that's in there. Like, what's happening here? What is this? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't... No thought is being put in what the spectrum should do, and even if you do that, it's not cleaned up whatsoever. Bass notes are way too long as well. I mean, yeah, that's the post string. There's probably some kind of... I'm almost assuming that this is kind of like a joke, that you left a filter on there by accident. Right, that you accidentally left some kind of massive boost here while you were exporting and you just forgot about it. And all of the things that we're seeing here is like massive post stringing that is coming from that. Because even here, like the melody, it sounds a little bit beginnerish, but not that much. It can work from a technical perspective. But the intro was like this cool ambience and this very cool theme that you've set up throughout it. It's been mixed underwater. Yes. But also the hi-hats and the drums that you have, not great. I'm gonna have to say I'm sorry. I don't know who this is, but this definitely needs a lot of work. I would, to be honest, this is at the point where it's not really talking about like giving you feedback on this track. Like there's just so much wrong with it. I would, I guess, sit here all day. But like. You should just focus on like improving, right? Improving until you get to a point where you're actually comfortable creating music. It's gonna take a while. You're probably at the beginning of your journey if you're making these kind of decisions in your production. But at some point you're just going to bad monitors are a good point. At this point, it's not about bad monitors, because even I've shown this many times before, the setup that I had for the longest while ago. I don't even have studio monitors. I still have these speakers here. And you can tell with the mixes that I make, at least I would say that they sound more professional than that, right? So I'm still able to, you know, get a good mix down, get that kind of thing. And all of that is just the fact that I have 10 years of experience producing music now. And then there's other people that don't have that, and you know they're going to make decisions where they push the baseline up that much. I would suggest setting the kick at -3 for start, or even -6 dB. I mean, mix-wise, that's not anything useful. Mix-wise, what you need to do is you need to develop the understanding of placement. The understanding of, okay, each element has a function. For that function, it needs to have certain things. It needs to have a certain volume. It needs to have certain frequency range. It needs to have a certain stereo width. And then you just need to apply it needs to have certain dynamics as well. It just needs to have different like properties. And then from there on, you need to take the sound that you are given in your mix, and you need to push them in a way with the effects to get them to that certain space. And you do that by, you create an understanding. If you just do that loop in your mind every time that you mix in a sound, at some point you'll just automatically get an understanding of what the sound needs in order to sit well in there. But that's like a long-term thing. If I were to guess, this is like your first track. My second track for a compilation release. I hope you guys like it. To be honest, Toxic Mind, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't put this on any compilation. I would spend another year to just trying to improve things a lot. Maybe he's a musician in a different aspect and he just started producing now. That's true, that could be. As I said, the musical idea sounds really good. Like the musical idea, it doesn't sound good. The musical idea that you had worked really well, right? The whole telephone theme throughout the whole thing, that works really well. Even some of the melodic things. I said before, it sounded a little bit beginnerish, the first melody that I heard, but the second melody did work a little bit better. I think from a technical perspective, all of the melodies worked, so that would suggest that somebody has some kind of musical training outside of psytrance and just doesn't know the way that we do melodies in psytrance most of the time. Because there are some caveats to how we do melodies, right? We don't do normal melodies in psytrance. We don't have like a harmony that we can build off of, and then we can use like nice flow throughout the melodies. That we just do 1 bar asset line. That's it. Anyway, Jane Cookie with honey. I tripped on mushroom peels. I have to get through these a little bit quicker. I like the arrangement. The arrangement was good, yes. The structure of the track, the whole structure of the track was good as well. There are definitely things in there that suggest that with a bit more training you can become a lot better. I like this. You said you were going to suck. This sounds very clean.
In the depths of my psyche, a labyrinth unfolds, where whispers of chaos in kaleidoscope mold. I drift through the ether.
Here maybe the bass is a little bit loud.
Slides my ship.
Also the vocals might be a little bit too like glitched up and messed up. It's hard to understand what it's saying. Still, I feel like this bass is a little bit too loud, even in here. At this point I would like to have the kick kind of really punch through the bass, and that's not happening right now. And that's just like a volume balance thing.
In the depths of my psyche, a labyrinth unfolds, where whispers of chaos in kaleidoscope mold.
If the track is this full with elements, I wouldn't put vocals in here, because especially when they're this messed up, it's really hard to understand them. Spoonful vibes. I was gonna say it sounds like Infected Mushroom if Infected Mushroom only made Mario Kart music. Because this feels like Bowser, the Bowser's Castle thing. That kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? I played with the vocals too much. I think so, yeah. What's really important about vocals is a nice sustained high end that we can make out syllables. Like even if I were to whisper, Infected Mario, yes. Even if I were to whisper, you can look at the frequency spectrum and you can just see what frequency spectrum that will be. It will be like 2K and above. You can still understand what I'm saying because all of the nuance of speech is in those higher frequencies. So you don't really want to mess those up, and you also don't want to cover them up when you're mixing them in. Because that way you're gonna get your story through. Because that's the goal of the vocal ultimately. It's the storytelling of the track, right? Otherwise you wouldn't have at least spoken vocals. It's also true for singing, but in this case we're talking about spoken vocals. Overall though, I really liked it. Very nice production. Nice for a Halloween theme. I agree, yes. Great stuff. You said you were going to suck, but it's you're indeed highly disappointing in the amount of sucking that you're not doing. Let's say that. Ambrosia, Peace Lies Beyond mix. Very cool cover art. If this is you, And you look good. A little bit of a big nose for my liking, but still. Is SoundCloud always this quiet, or is that just this mix? I cannot turn it up, by the way. It was written on Halloween, actually. I know where you get the inspiration from. I think this is just this mix being quiet. I cannot turn it up in any way, I think, because of the way that my audio routing is working. At least not both for me and for you, unless I... Yeah, so I'm adding 7 dB to this now. You know what they say about big noses? I have no idea. What do they say about them? I'm thinking this is gonna be some kind of ambiental house kind of thing. Yes. So I added 7 dB, I could add another 7. No, I can only go up to 12 dB in total of extra gain that I can add. And still you're nowhere close to like master level. So I think you might be mixing a little bit quiet. I was relying on you being able to turn it up. Yes, I found a way to do that, but it's... I need to turn it off later. If I stop playing this track, I need to remember to turn it off, because otherwise it's... Yeah, if you do plus 12 on everything in the DAW, or right before you master, then you have an adequate level of mastering. Because a lot of your mastering plugins are going to require both a maximum level, like you cannot drive it, or a minimum level, in that you need to push it in there somewhere to get that sweet spot of saturation. Big nose, big penis. Nope. No, the one down below is definitely larger, so that doesn't work. Overall, the vibe is really nice. I think maybe the sidechaining on some of the mid-range elements, like this one here, that's a little bit strange for me, because this is like a very ambient or very slow track. I would see that much more in an aggressive kind of track, in my opinion. I was first gonna complain about the violin sounding too digital, but I think it's intentional. Because it's playing very digitally as well, right? It's like... But you could maybe do is low pass it a little bit, that violin. Because it also feels a little bit harsh here. I wouldn't sidechain this as much as you have here. Like throughout the track. There's ways that you can mix it in without this much sidechaining. Especially because these are like the chords. This is like the backbone of it. If you still have issues with the mixing, then for one I would turn up the kick to 3 dB. Maybe even the bass a little bit. But I wouldn't rely on the sidechaining here, because you can cover up the kick a little bit if you want to. It's hard to make it organic since it's a VST, yes. It is a very nice uplifting idea. I do really like it. As you can see, I'm dancing to it. So that's a good sign. It doesn't really work with the cover art though. You need to to get a different cover art, because the cover art is too dark. I said he had a big nose, didn't I? Overall, my only issue is that the track is getting a little bit boring. For one, I would play with the filter cutoff more for the flux, the ARP that you have going on and all of that stuff. You have a few elements in here, like the violin and some other lead sounds. I would place them in different sections, like I do with Psytrance. Right here, the violin really seems to end. So this is a place where you could maybe have a new element come in. Maybe a different ARP on top, maybe a different synth sound on top, something like that. And then I would introduce some fills in the track. It's just a habit from other electric genres. Yeah, usually with more aggressive kind of genres, you don't even have to master this too loud because it's not an aggressive track. Even if you were to master this, it doesn't have to be that aggressive in terms of the mastering, so you don't need it for getting that very aggressive mix / master it. Like in that, it's really important that your sidechaining is on point. But for this kind of thing, you can go loosey-goosey with the sidechaining, because you're not really trying to get every single luff possible out of your master. Yeah, the big thing that is missing for me in this track is fills. Fills sectioning off the different elements and then building down and back up again to that element. So for example, that ARP that was in there, it kind of felt like it was going up in filter cutoff and then it just kind of stopped at a certain filter cutoff, like at a certain point. What I would do is where it goes up, maybe after 16 bars of drop, do a little fill, and then the ARP kind of rings out throughout maybe the next section or the maybe even in the fill. That way there's that little pause in there, and then maybe you can come back with the ARP at the low filter cutoff and then back up again, something like that. Hi Bras. I have no idea who Bras is, but I'll say hi to him if I see him. In which, unless there's somebody called Bras in here. Or we're a bunch of tit holders. Our observation was spot on. I have yet to add effects and transitions, so thanks for the feedback overall. You're welcome. Do people really do this? Do people really write a whole track before adding any of the transitions into it? I wouldn't write a track like that. This is personal preference, but Brass is bro. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Again? Did we drop out again? Am I back? I hope so. On my end, everything says it's good, but I don't know. Let me know if I'm back. Back now for me. Perfect. Okay, then we go to the next track. Ruy Rice. Yes. Ruy. Bleh. This name with We Can't Deny Unmastered. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't know what to do. Fuck the volume. It was 12 dB too loud. FL Studio default snare. Yay! Change the snare. Everybody knows that snare. I would pitch this up somewhere. first off, clean up your kick and bass. I like the tonality of it and the envelope overall, but this is really not done. This here, the kick being messed up by the bass line itself. You should look into resampling. I would also do more in the fills than just the vocal. Here on this lead, one of the things I would do is stereonize it, have it nice and wide. Not what I expected from the drop. Yeah, I don't even know if that first thing was a drop or not. Here the track is a little bit boring. I mean, it just completely goes to silence. This sounds like an outro. And then it just kind of picks up again. I would have like a pad in there, and then it just goes full volume. That's a really strange decision. There's nothing connecting these two segments. I'm not a fan of this future bass kind of thing. I do like the way that your leads work and stuff like that. I am not a fan of this clap. It's by far not tight enough. You could honestly do more with the bass line. Like an offbeat or a slide bass in there sometimes. You just make it a bit more progressive. That's a strange thing that it just kind of at random spots just kind of opens up the melody like that. The saws had no sub on them. That could have been part of the reason. The bass is good, yeah, the kick and bass tonality is good. I would like to see it cleaned up. From a musical idea, this works well. What I don't like is the way that all of the elements kind of combine together. This doesn't really sound like the same track as this does. Apart from, obviously, the vocal overlap. Like, this is future bass stuff. And this is just, like, psytrance, right? So this is, it feels like two different genres mixed together in a way that doesn't really make sense. If you're gonna go for this kind of mix of genres and you want to do some more mainstream kind of psytrance, then I would go for a very mainstream kind of bass sound, which this isn't. This is a very normal type of psytrance bass sound. This is the kind of bass sound that I would use for my tracks, right? The long kind of drawn out full-on kind of thing. It sounds like a full-on kick and bass put into a future bass track. Ableton default snare. Is the Ableton one, isn't this the FL one? I believe this to be the FL. It's in trial mode, I know. What is the... Stop it! Please! No, not this one. If you go to... not the 808. This one here. Isn't it this? Yes! It's this! Do you guys hear this, by the way? I don't know if my audio engine is set up for this. Yeah, you should hear. This is the same snare, right? Yes! I wouldn't use the default FL Studio snare if I were you. You can hear, as I said, as I shown, you can hear that immediately. Anyway, back to a normal DAW. Vengeance Pack, the snare. It's the FL Studio default snare. I just showed you. It's the one that opens up default with FL Studio. I don't know if Vengeance sells it too. Trying to export a project with a default snare should result in an error. I agree, yes. It sounds like the same to me as well, yeah. Honestly, style, the biggest problem I would have here is the style. I do agree with Zenlion, that's probably a good pack there. I've heard many people say about it. That's a good one. Sometimes snares just sound the same after processing, but that similar, I don't think so. I think though these two snares were just the exact same file. I'm gonna be honest, the exact same sample. The biggest thing I would say to you, Ruy, if that's how you pronounce your name, I don't know. It's probably a very English way to say it. But you should probably try to find a bit more of a universal style. Right? And that's the two things that you have put here together, the future bass stuff. For one, this needs low end. And then this needs one cleaning up, but it needs more. Like the style is even the one shots and stuff that you're using have that very psychedelic style to them, whereas the rest isn't like very psychedelic, right? The future bass stuff isn't really psytrance. But he uses Ableton. You use Ableton. Ah, maybe yeah. So what could happen is that somebody sold the default FL Studio snare in their sample pack. Imagine you're buying this amazing sample pack, you just spend all your hard-earned cash on the FL Studio default snare. That's funny. If that happens, that's funny. If somebody does that, that's funny. Zenlion, I'm just submitting today to get back into it. Don't look too close at the cleanliness and such. I can also put more work into the intro and make a story. Left some silence at the end for autoplay. Thank you. I love you. This is Ambient 1.5.1 by Zenlion. Indeed, a little bit of a simple intro. I do like your chord progression so far. Definitely something more complex than, or it's definitely like a complex kind of thing. I don't know music theory. It might be the simplest chord progression there's out there, but it sounds complex. Maybe it's the patch, yeah. I think the plug that we heard in the beginning here of this phrase could stand out throughout the whole phrase. It feels like you're just washing it out in reverb now, but I would keep that idea in there. Dun, 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 because that already sets up a little bit of a rhythm that you can then play off from. The reverb is kind of overwhelming, yes. Damn, 5 hours live, bro is a YouTube athlete. Am I live for 5 hours? No. Am I? How? I just started an hour and a half ago. I like that you're playing with the bass notes here. I'm not a fan of the fast kicks. To be honest, this isn't really a ambient kick, right? You would have a much more muffled kick. See if I can find you some examples. What's the pack called that I'm... Massive kick? No. little bit high in the high frequencies here. A little bit loud, I would say. Platinum kicks here. I think this stuff has. I'll play some after it. That noise thing is a little bit too loud. I like that you're leaving space for that cool effect there. And then bringing it back. That's good. I like the way that that lead comes through the mix, but some other leads could have the same feeling. Right, what we're hearing now, that feels a little bit more back, even though it's doing like a solo thing, so it should also be more in front, in my opinion. Must be a bug. It might be because it's I scheduled the stream, right? So I scheduled the stream in advance a few hours so that you guys know when I'm gonna be live. Yeah, because my analytics also say that I started from 1 PM with no viewers up until 5 PM with no viewers, and then I started suddenly getting views, but that's not the case. I just started streaming at 5. That's a little bit loud. It sounds like a burp. Yeah, like me streams and stops after 3 minutes without realizing. Honestly, when it comes to the drums here, I would personally opt for much more relaxed drums. Like, I'm not really feeling the trap snare. I'm not really feeling the very aggressive hi-hats. What I would personally go for is something like that in terms of kick. And then let me see if I can find a lo-fi snare somewhere in here. But like the lo-fi samples. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, something like this. This might be nice. This down one is nice for if you want a really lo-fi kind of feeling. I wouldn't go with open hats. Something like this. This even has a little bit of noise to it, but this is a nice lower frequency. Do you know what you can see the lower frequencies here? So it blends a little bit. The issue that you have with your really high frequency hi-hats is that you essentially have all of your mid-range, which is your ambient stuff, you have your bassline, and then you have the hi-hats here. Whereas right here there's nothing to fill it up. So I would personally go with a hi-hat like this. This kit is called Capital Drum Kit, but you'll find stuff like this, as well as the platinum kicks that I showed before. These kicks, you can find this everywhere. This is just kicks from like a normal kick drum. I would go with a bit more electronic one, I guess. They get more electronic throughout the pack. Yeah, something like this. Nice little bit of oomph to it. Maybe this is a bit too long still, but what you have is a very digital sounding kick. Something like that could work as well. What would you change about that lead to bring it forward? The volume. Just up it like a few dB. It's a glitch kick. Ah, that's glitch. Yeah, so he makes stuff for psytrance. Just like me. I wouldn't use a psytrance kick in ambient. Like, it's a good kick for psytrance. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a good kick for ambient. To me, it would need... I would go with lo-fi drums, if I were you, for a track like this. Like lo-fi hip-hop, that kind of thing. The stuff that you hear on the the what's it called, the study girl thing, the live stream. You know what I mean? The ambient psytrance. You could go for that, but then you would need a psytrance kick and bass. Then it would be ambient psytrance, which could work. You could have invented something here. You could have done something here. Yes, it needs more experimentation, but I'll give you that you definitely did something here. I'll give you props for that. Stain with Birth, or Marco, which is his artist name. It's called Birth. Let's see. It's very mono. I don't think you want to be this mono. Maybe there's an export issue. I like your kick, I don't like your bass. The bass doesn't really seem to have bass. I guess it's very short, it could be longer. You need to phase line with your kick properly. Which probably also mean that you would need to resample once you get a bass that does work. It doesn't really have any transient to it either. The hi-hats could be a bit louder, especially your closed hi-hat. But mainly things shouldn't be mono. I'm not even sure if this is an actual bass patch or not. Because it feels like you just cut out a part of the kick in here and you place that over here and here. Which is not how to do things, if you're wondering. I do really like your sound design. From what I can hear, it's hard to judge when it's mono. Personally, I'm not really a fan of the format filter thing because it's really overused, but that's an aesthetic thing. It does work. Would love to hear you switch it up a little bit more in terms of using different elements. Everything made by Serum and your presets. Ah. Bass too? I do like your kick. I do think your kick is nice and knocky, and that works. You can definitely work around that. I would do more to make that tempo change work. Everything feels very dark mix-wise. It's the same problem that the other track had, but to a lesser extent. In that you can see how this it's ramping up like this. It should ramp down a little bit less overall. Right here you just have the issue with the kick just kind of going up until here and then not further. That's not really an issue, that's like an aesthetic choice to get that kind of old school Goa vibe going. That's okay, but then you need to supplement that with more cymbal stuff, more stuff coming from the top loop, as well as more sequences in there. No, bass is mine. Oh, then I would highly reconsider making a different bass line, because this bass line, I'm gonna be dead honest here, it sucks. It has no click. It just sounds like you, as I said before, it just sounds like you took this part of the kick out here, cut it out and just dropped it in here. It almost even looked like that, but I don't know. I'm assuming that the... Why is green the click of the kick? Because it doesn't go any higher than the mid-range. If it were to go into the mid-range, it would become blue, like the blue frequencies that we see here. But you'll see the click show up of the kick here once the kick starts playing again. Right, do you see this is mid-range? So that becomes green. This is better bass already. It has a little bit more click, but even here, if you really want, if you want to make like the modern style of sidetrance, you would go up until like 10k with both the kick transient as well as the bass transient. It's at least nice to see that you resampled this, or at least, I guess, it looks resampled. At least it looks clean enough. That's what I should say. So the bass have to be more loner. The bass, honestly, it depends on what style you want to go for. If you want to go for this old school kind of vibe, what I would do is just... Do I have that kick thing still here? Right, this is the kind of old school kind of kick that you would want. Hello? I don't know which key you're in, but let's just say that you're in F sharp for some reason. For the old school vibe, you go one octave higher than what we usually do now in the more modern sidetrance. And then the idea is just something like this. Maybe a little bit of mixing it in by setting velocity here. It was G sharp 0. So I would then G sharp 1 is a little bit hard, but for an old school vibe you can do something like this, where you keep the randomized, you don't mess with the phase, you don't do any processing, right? If you want to go for something modern, you go with my recent pack, and then you just go into subshifter auto sub control, and this will do all of the mixing for you. You can set the amount of processing that you want, if you want to close the envelope a bit. But you would complement this with a different kick, for example, the one from, not really, yeah, the quality kick spec also does work, but for example, the psychedelic drum pack here, you just have BPM type kicks with the key next to it. This becomes a lot more modern already, right? Maybe you don't like that style, you scroll down a bit. I want to really find that knocky style. Maybe that's, yeah, this is a bit more punchy style, I guess. This is a bit deeper. That's very similar. Of course, none of this was mixed in or stuff like that. The reason why this is so clean is because this bass patch controls everything for you. Like, you don't have to do any processing. In fact, I would recommend not doing any processing. If we look into the waveform real quick with Syscope, what you'll find is that, please let me just, thank you. Kick and bass there goes into different channels, and then input. You'll find that one, it's a bit too loud, and I should probably align this better here, because this is for 145 BPM, and I would probably need to flip this looking at the waveform. Just 1 second. Like, this is the kind of thing that you would go through for proper kick and bass mixing, but now what you'll see is that if we look at just the bass, wait. There's stuff on here. That's not good. A little lower on the velocity here, but that should work mix-wise. Yeah, that explains a lot. So now you can see the kick and bass is just completely clean in terms of the waveform. What I'm looking at when it comes to clean kick and bass is, one, I look at if there's nothing happening here. That's why I was like, oh, this is something weird. This shouldn't happen. I know for a fact that this bass line doesn't do that. So here, there shouldn't be anything. This should just be silent because that's where the kick plays, at least the start of the kick. Usually I'll even look here to see if this already goes to silence right before the kick plays, so that the kick transient has a little bit of space before it, that just the bass kind of does this, and then the kick transient just kind of comes in after that, right? Like this. There's this little gap in between. And the same is true for all of the bass transients. So right here you can see the bass trend or the bass line goes down almost to silence, and then the next bass note hits. Right here, don't mind this. This is just rendering issue with the plugin. What this patch also has is that the first half of the beat does not have a sub bass. So the sub bass, because the kick provides the sub bass for the first half of the beat, you can see the rendering issue. It allows me to delete the bass line. No more bass line. The first half of the beat is the sub bass is given by the kick. The second half of the beat, it is given by the bass line. So this patch automatically turns off the sub bass for the first half of the beat, which means that you, as I said, only need this patch. You don't need anything else, and you get this kind of modern kick and bass sound. Obviously, if you have a kick like this, which again I also sell if you want. And it's just gonna sum together like this, and then you can use that to layer upon. Something like that. Maybe close the envelope a bit more. The envelope closure is going to depend on your style. The closer, the darker it's going to sound. And also on the phasing that you're doing. With the phasing, I would always do this with the kick in mind and with just the waveform in mind. So you can see if you don't accidentally run into these big peaks that you see right here, which you can on certain settings. So you just kind of go for the tone that you want. If you want a more processed bass line, you go higher up. If you want it less processed, you go something like this. This would be a sweet spot, I would say, because it sounds both nice in the processing, it sounds nice, or it looks nice in terms of the waveform. The kick sine wave kind of continues into the part where this bass note is playing, right? The bass note is playing here. So these two together are summing nicely, and then the bass line itself is sounding nice as well. That would be my way if you want to make modern psytrance. But for the other one, as I explained before, you can get away with a little bit, because it's old school, you can get away with more old school kind of vibe, and therefore also more old school kind of kick and bass making technique, I would say. Hello? Well, there goes Ableton. It's always constructive to see you. Thank you. I'm glad that I could help. This does give me time to take a quick break. I was kind of trying to speed through the tracks. We still have 2 more tracks before Claus tracks comes. But there's many submissions to go through. So I wanted to go through them as fast as I could. But I will take a quick break here. So actually, I'm gonna close off everything but this. I need the track that I was working on here. This is the track from yesterday. It's finished, so I also mastered it, so it's nice and loud for you guys. I'm gonna play this, and once this track is finished playing, I'll be back and we'll continue with listening to your tracks. This track, the track that you're gonna hear, I'm gonna make a breakdown of it soon for my YouTube channel, of course. I'll see you guys in a bit. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm never gonna release that track, but that's for another thing. It's actually for a YouTube video, so I am still pushing it out there, but it's never gonna fully release. Because it's not really my style. I wanted to do this kind of complex track just to kind of learn it. But I don't really plan on making music like this, I guess. It's also in D sharp, which is not really a key that I'm usually using. Is it out on my SoundCloud? It will be on Experimenter when it comes, when the video comes out. So this is going to be, as I said, for a video. Once that video comes out, it will be on my Experimenter SoundCloud page, which is where I drop all of the other stuff that I don't really have a place for. If you want to follow along for that, you'll be able to pick it up here. I might make it free for download, just to be nice. I really like that style. That's good because the breakthrough video is gonna hopefully be a good one. I recorded it right before the stream. I have like an hour and a half of footage for it, so it should be a nice long video with the whole track explained and everything. A lot of the sound design, a lot of the cool things that I'm doing, so hopefully that's gonna be a good video. Anyway, next up is Ptic, also known as Danny_ in Discord, with Weird Music. Okay, just straight into it.
This is weird music. What is this?
I like the sound of your kick and bass. I don't like that you're not using any fades here. Also, the kick could be a little bit shorter, just a bit, right? Up until like this point here. You would fade it out. You wouldn't have this last oscillation here. You can also see the bass line bleeding into the kick. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Sound design is a bit strange, it's a bit unique for psytrance. almost sounds like techno sound design.
Weird.
When you do a build up like that, I would recommend high passing your kick and bass slowly, so you transition with the kick and bass as well. Mix-wise, I have the same issue that I had with some of the other tracks that were submitted, in that there is no clear definition of levels. Everything is just kind of in your face and loud. Also, for some reason, some of the elements are very mono, like this sitar here. Now this is much more like the psytrance sound design that I know. I like this. This is good. Hello Dash. Welcome. My son loves it. Perfect. I do really like this. This is really good. I wasn't much of a fan of the first bit, but here it really shines.
This weird music.
I like that your vocals are nice and clear too. Your spoken vocals. Some of the stuff is just a little bit too mono for me. Like this sound here, this metallic sound that is playing, I would make that stereo. I miss a snare in this part. I miss some top drums in general in this part. But I think this is still work in progress, because it's also just started at random points and it's just going to stop now here, right? So I think this is still work in progress. I would recommend adding some drums, like some people are saying, like this name was saying. I'm sorry. Time for a collab, bro. To be honest, I'm pretty busy. It's not really my kind of style either, but maybe in the future. I don't know. Right now, it's not a good time for a collab. Anyway, Big Z, or what is his artist name? Is that ZWB? I don't know. Either way, dub work in progress, Alien Tribe 125 A sharp 2 or 5.2 2023 1105 underscore 2. That's quite a name for a track there. Either way, let's see what you've made for us. Yeah, just a joke. You have quit music. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Nice bra, thank you. Although, how you see it is beyond me. Final 2.wave, yes. The music producer's curse. To be honest, I will always save over the same file just to avoid the confusion. But I do have, like, for some masters, I have master 8, master 9, master 10, so on and so on. Like, if I scroll down here, I'm sure I'll find, yeah, virtual reality mix and master number 9. I like the atmosphere. You're setting up something really nice here. I'm not really a fan of your kick and bass synthesis. For one, it could be cleaner. But overall, the tonality, I'm not really a fan of it. I would like it to be a little bit more plucky. For a very start of the track, I do feel like this is maybe a little bit too complex. This sounds more to me like a part you would find later in the track when you're a little bit slower building up to it. I have to start and learn software engineering. It's easier to make money with it. I did it for 4 years in university and before that for 4 years in high school. Good luck. But I love it to code. Good music is good for coding, yes. It does have some old school Goa vibes, so... Mix-wise, you can be a bit sharper on your top loop, here in the high end. I feel like... Okay, so that's a little bit high in volume, that's one sound there. What I wanted to say is, I feel like it's a little bit muffled, the track. Like it's mid-range apart. Part of that is because I think the track is a little bit too full. Like you have this ARP in here, and then you're trying to do all kinds of other things on top. I think there's 2 ARPs maybe even. I'm not a fan of that sound. Also here, for some reason, your first kick is a bit messed up. This is good that you have a lower energy part in here. It's nice for the flow of the track. This is good. Now that there's no ARP in here, like this amount of one-shots and that kind of stuff and sounds works for me. This is a nice segment, I like this. I think in the other segment the ARP messed it up a bit too much. Also that one impact that we just heard is maybe a bit on the loud side as well. This new ARP coming in here, because it's a little bit slower sounding, works a bit better in my opinion. What I would love to see a little bit more in your tracks is some fills. Just a bar every like 16 bars, the kind of standard structure. I just think that that's much better for the track. Just in general when you're dancing and stuff like that. Gives you something when you're producing to flow into and out of. this point the track becomes a little bit too buzzy again. You have 3 melodic elements going through each other, which makes it really hard to understand what the melodies are doing. I would remove the acid line from here. And that other one, I would turn its volume down a bit. Finally, I'm not a fan of that clap slash snare, whatever it is. It's not high enough in the frequencies. I think what's happening, listening to your kick and bass here towards the end, you're not really using a saw wave, I think. Either that or you're using some really weird kind of processing, I don't know. Everything is noted. You're welcome. I'm glad I was able to help. Anyway, how many tracks? Oh, it's okay. Next track is Claus, finally, with Exosphere. Let's see what he has for us. It's gonna be some nice ambiental stuff, knowing him. Or not. The kick has different transients here. Is this clean? Not really. I also think the... Wait. Where be bass? Ah, there it is. Little bit clocked on the mid-range here. I think you just need to high pass some elements in here, maybe. What I wanted to say about the bassline is the bassline also doesn't have a transient. The kick transient is constantly changing. I don't know what's up with that. I guess you would just need to resample. Maybe this sound was playing in the bassline before, and in that case, yeah, you see there's some muddy areas here. I would remove anything, even that low thing that you saw at 100 Hz. I would remove that from other things so that your bassline can really come through there. Kick feels loose, yes. And for your bassline, it feels like maybe what you've done is you've... I cannot show that here. Can I get a MIDI track? Not normally, no. Even this, the kick here, the high frequencies, it's going really high. You could consider low passing that at 10k-ish. I do really like this lead here. Nice and soft. But for your bassline, I would like to hear a little bit more transient. I think what might have happened is that you set the phase to the wrong starting position. So it doesn't start at the click of the saw wave. If you just resample one instance of this kick and then low pass it at 10k, I think it will be a good kick, because the rest of it, the tonal, like the low end, the punch and everything like that is good. You just need to get that consistency from it. Nice, I like that. Sounds good. Hubbub is next. I hope he's still here, because he asked a long time ago if I've seen his track. a very long time ago. I don't even know where his message is. Either way, he'll probably see it once he gets back to the stream. Either way, this is Hubbub. Oh, Hubbub. I've been saying his name wrong this whole time. Anyway, this is Hubbub.mp3. Okay, sliding kick and bass. Kick is very short. Also it almost feels like the kick should be here, right? Because there's where the space is for it, and here the bass line is sliding into the kick. It's a very short kick. What's happening? The kick was completely going into the bass line there. You don't want the kick and bass to overlap. If you're gonna have the kick play a different rhythm, just make space in the bass. Hello Bo, how are you doing? Like something like this, like a bass groove, this is okay. I would have the kick out there more, by the way. Yeah, the kick is not really punching through, the kick is not really strong enough, and the bass is pretty loud in this mix here. The rest of the atmosphere is really cool. I really like the other sound design that you're doing on top of it. I'd like to see some more brightness from your hi-hats. Your hi-hats are almost non-existent. They could be up here. They could really pierce through. Even though this is like a dark type of psytrance, like here you're going off the rails with the kick and bass interacting with each other. Right? Wait, is this a rolling kick and bass? I thought it was a sliding kick and bass. There are two bass lines. Why? But this is a rolling kick and bass. I thought it was a sliding kick and bass. There's no movement to the bass line. It's not. It doesn't have a pluck. It just feels like you went into your serum and was like, I'm gonna make a bass line. Let me just get my serum. I need a saw wave. I need the filter. I need the filter envelope. Ah no, I won't bother. It feels like you just did this. Now what's happening here? Is this supposed to be high tech or something? Dark side experimental. I mean, yes, it's dark. I do agree with that. But what you're doing with the kick and the bass makes no sense to me. The kick is the thing that we're dancing to, right? So if it's doing random rhythms, then we cannot really dance to it. And I don't know what the bass is doing here. I don't even know how you get those extra harmonics from a bass line. Like what? Also, why is this completely mono? There's reverb on this. Why are you guys making your tracks deliberately mono? You have two channels to work with. Use them. Thank you for stopping by, Zen Lion, and welcome Virtual Instinct. I use Saturn for my bass. Okay. I don't know what you used for your bassline and the processing. To be honest, you're not whatever you were doing, you're not going to get extra harmonics from between the harmonic series of a saw wave. If this is your saw wave, yes, it does show up. If this is your saw wave, there's no way to get an harmonic in here with any kind of normal distortion or saturation that we know. I don't have Saturn, so I cannot really experiment with that, but there's no way that the saturator should be able to produce an extra harmonic in there. So you were definitely doing something strange there with the bassline to get that harmonic series out of it. To be honest, I don't like it. I'm gonna be that honest here, I'm not a fan. The mix was strange, all of the elements turned out to be mono. Like the ambient stuff, the stuff that you were doing over top. I am really not a fan of the kick and bass, whatever the kick and bass were doing there. It doesn't feel danceable to me, and at the end of the day, it's electronic dance music for a reason, right? So to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the track. But I hope that there's some things that you can fix for that. The biggest thing that you need to stop doing is layering your kick on top of your bass. That's a no-go. Don't do that. I wouldn't. There's no. Am I back? Hello? I did see that I dropped out there. The last thing that I said was don't mix your kick and your bass. Or don't put your kick and your bass on top of each other. They're both low frequency elements, so they're fighting for the same space. When two low frequency elements clash on top of each other, you're going to have issues in the low frequency. It's really hard to master things. It's really hard to get a balanced mix if you're doing that. So I would highly advise against that. That would be my biggest takeaway for you if you were to take something away from it. The next track is by Alamtas, who I've just received 2 copyright strikes from earlier during the week. So this is going to be another one. I'll message him after the stream to try to resolve that with me. I don't want to be struck by you guys when you guys publish your music. I'll listen to it anyway, but he just needs to make sure that I am exempted from copyright strikes. Either way, next up is Galaxies, one by Synthesia Alamtas, 140 BPM F sharp. Let's see. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit late. Thank you so much, you're welcome. I hope the feedback is helpful. Sometimes I can be a bit rough. I have a hard time saying maybe like the positive things. Usually when tracks are playing, I don't like to speak too much. So if I like something, I don't necessarily say it too much. I sometimes do make an effort to say it, but only if I've not spoken for a long time, because I want you guys to hear the track as well. Some weird low frequency humming there. Hear this again. I wouldn't want that. Sounds very strange. Nice kick and bass, you can clean it up. The tone is good, the cleanliness not so much. I think that here we see a issue here. You could fade this out earlier, this one as well. Nice snappy drums though, I like that. Snare could be a bit higher. Could be more like noisy, more high frequency stuff. yes, your stereo if you're doing everything in mono, then it's going to sound terrible. We have 2 ears, we have 2 channels, and that's all for a reason. I know some systems are still mono and you need to be mono compatible, but that doesn't mean being mono. Like even this track is fairly mono now, right? Because there's not a lot of things going on. In this case, what I would do is maybe stereonize even the bass a little bit more. It's a fairly empty track. Like there's not much going on in terms of elements on top of it. Here the stereo width is nice, but this is the break, so that's gonna have a nice stereo width. I mean, unless you do things like that where it just becomes extremely wide for no reason. I think your synths could be a little bit louder too, like 1 or 2 dB. I do like the rest of the balance, like your hi-hats are nice, they pierce through the mix nicely. Kick and bass tone, as I said, is very good. Mainly the stereonizing of the mix, and what really needs work is that the track is just, I'm gonna be dead honest, boring. Like the elements are cool, but there's not enough. We've heard this like gated pad for so long now, it's really becoming boring. Also some extra fills wouldn't hurt. It's too empty, yes, I agree. Even here, the sounds feel kind of muffled. Maybe it's also the fact that they don't really have a lot of mid-highs here. Some extra saturation can help for that. But here that's okay, but that's like a splash coming through it, right? And it feels like the higher mid-range can get some love here, like this area here, just under the hi-hats. But overall, as I said, the main thing that is, I think, holding this track back is that it's just slightly boring. Especially now that you don't have any fills going on for a long time. I mean, there's one, but we already heard that fill before. So I would like to see more excitement in your production. Also, a big tip that I want to give you and everybody watching. If you're doing kick fills, turn down the kicks that are creating the fill by 3 or 4 dB. It will make a world of difference. It's the biggest thing that I might want to give you here. because when it comes to kick fills, they're supposedly a level lower because you're not dancing to them. The main kick you're dancing to, right? You're going like this, bum, 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 bum. If you then have the kick fill, that's not the kick that you dance to. So if that's on the same level, mix-wise, that doesn't really make sense. Just from like a technical mix side of things, because the kick that you're supposed to dance to is more important than the kick that is doing the fill. So it should be lower in level. Hello Melogify, welcome back. Just in time for... also, the last thing that you should work on while you're here is not copyright striking me. Can you please stop doing that? Because I had 2 of you in this week. From a guy named Synthesia and I'll see if I can find them, but we're both on very old streams, by the way, so is it this one? Yeah, Meaning of Life, Synthesia, copyright strike, or copyright claim, sorry, not a strike. Strike is much worse. And here, Principle of Polarity, Synthesia, copyright claim. Can you stop doing that? Like, can you ask your guy to not strike or claim me? Thank you. It can't be me. I don't know who it is, but somebody, your distributor, whatever is happening, you need to contact the person that you're releasing with or the distributor that you're releasing with to stop claiming me, because you give me permission to play your music. I think that's pretty fair to say if you give it to me. Yes, so now they are getting claimed because now they're getting released. Whoever is doing the releasing is also claiming them on your behalf. Or at least, can I see the person that actually is making the claim? Still? No. I cannot see who made the claim. I can only see that you're the artist name for the track that they claimed for. I cannot see who made the claim on your behalf, unfortunately. I can only see that it's your music being claimed. And now they're out and the label claims the copyrights. Yeah, of course. So that shouldn't be fair. So what you need to do is you need to go to your label and you need to say, you need to whitelist that guy from the claiming system, because I give him permission to play the music, right? Even before it was released, that's what he does. He gives feedback on music, and yeah, whoever it is, you have the contacts, you're releasing with them, so you should be able to fix that. I'm not gonna sit here on your behalf trying to contact a label that doesn't know me. You're probably in contact with the guys if you're releasing with them. You just send them a message, whatever you need to do, but just get this fixed. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'd never like to do this, but next up is This Is the Run MIDI. Is this in reference to the inspired by the Senior Quantum Strike 99 times 9 attempts? Funky. Ah, this is from some Doom stuff. For anybody wondering, this is the Doom thing that this is based on. I'm not gonna read this. This doesn't really matter. I was hoping this was for the 112 baby meme thing from GoldenEye. This is one instance of Sound Canvas. I have no idea what Sound Canvas is, but it sounds impressive. If you're saying it like that. Didn't realize this is how things work. Whenever you put something into the claimant system, it's also going to go through the backlog that already exists. So just keep that in mind for next time. And obviously my content was already up because I already streamed it, so it was gonna get caught by the automatic thing. I like the vibes, good mix as well. this the... What's it called? What's that game called? Megalovania? Or the track? From the Sans game? I'm out of touch, I don't know. It just had that snippet of that thing in there. Oh, did I not say who this was? This is Mtr J. In Discord, Mtr J. As artist name MJ_LBT. It does feel like an early 2000s game loading screen thing. It does have that kind of vibe to it. I guess that's just the sound selection that comes from the program that you mentioned. Sound Canvas or whatever it is. Wait. Is this a synth? Like an actual hardware synth? It sounds really like Megalovania. Is that the name of the track? I don't know. But this is the sound canvas for anybody wondering. It feels more impressive than when you first said it, if it's just this one thing there. Oh, it's just a VST emulation. Still, very cool. I assume that you send it multiple MIDI inputs then? Like one for drums, one for bass, one for the synths and everything, and one for the guitar of everything. I would say that this has 1991 and after vibes. Or 1992 if you're not talking about Japan, you know? Just a hunch on, or something that I feel like, right? There's no reason why it's that specific. It's not like I opened the Wikipedia page and looked when this device came out. See you! Thank you for stopping by, Sucker of the Year. All MIDI to one plugin. That makes sense. How many inputs does it have? Like how many different instruments can it do at the same time? Oh wow. I mean, then yeah, you still have a nice selection of things that you can do, I guess. Especially if you get to sequence all of the drums in one MIDI. It does sound like all of the drums are just like one thing, because otherwise you would run out of instruments, I guess. Overall, very, very cool track. Very cool that it was all done with one plugin. That certainly wasn't. I hate autoplay. Anyway, next track is Claus K again, with Calm Morning, a calm ambiental one. So let's see. I also thought the last one was ambiental, but it turned out to be a nice sidetrance track, so I won't judge too early. I don't know if there's anything that he's trying to hide from me. That's a very loud, boomy kick. It's also very long. Just like the other guy that was making ambience, I would use a more muffled, lower kick. Or like shorter kick, sorry, lower. What spectrum plugin are you using? This is called Signalizer. All of them are different Signalizer presets. Which I actually got from a guy named Musar. But it's very customizable, so you can make it look however you want. I was going for long, but maybe lower in volume. I feel like it's messing with your bassline. Honestly, if you want that long extended punch, I would just kind of cut into the bassline and just play bass note right after. To be honest, with the way that this is currently mixed / mastered, it's not really a problem. If you wanted to master this any louder, it would be. But it just came out of like... It felt a little bit strange for the track. And I think sometimes when the kicks play too close together, it might be overlapping, which I would consider an issue. Right there. I very much love the vibes of this one though. It's very good. Also mix-wise it's very nice, apart from what I said with the kick, which I would change. Like that one kick overlapping, that would be a problem, but even if the kick is just playing like this, having a long kick like that isn't really like a technical thing that is wrong. I just aesthetically was like, it's a little strange. What you could even consider is low passing it quite a bit, even to something like 2000 Hertz here. So that you, instead of getting like a punch into it, it's more just the chest punch that you have, and then the kick almost acts like your bassline, but with a lot of punch at the beginning. I used to listen to music like this a lot. It's good for studying stuff like this. It's very well done. I do really like it. As I said, I have some issues with the kick, but other than that, it's perfect. Next up is George Silva, also known as Dualism, with NN, which we all know stands for Not November. I don't know why you would name a track like that, but okay, you do you. 146 BPM, G version 4.7, 2023 1105 1 or 0107. You guys with your track names? Anytime George submits a track through Google Drive, it will ask me if I want to scan for viruses. I don't know if I should be scared. You might have used the virus TI to make this. That might be what is going on here. A little bit muddy in the beginning. I would love to hear the vocal a little bit more. Here as well, this vocal should have more high end. It should be occupying this area a lot more so that it becomes a lot clearer what he's actually saying. Like, I cannot understand what the vocal is saying. You know what I mean? And part of it is the extreme effect that you have on this. And the other part is just like a mistake in the mix, like it's too low pass, the other elements are getting in the way of it. The stream jumped to 144 VX. I didn't do anything. That's YouTube doing things. There's no way you're gonna mix a vocal in here. Stop trying to put it in here, there's no way. Not enough space for it. Nice clean kick and bass. You can fade it out a little bit earlier if you want, and this first note could be a little bit lower in volume. But that's stylistic, it's not wrong, the way that you have it now. I like it. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of having something come in here. It's a pretty busy production here. Like here the vocal, no chance of getting through. No way. But I mean, your sound design is on point and your mix is on point, so overall in terms of production it's very good. Your hi-hats could be a tad bit louder, the closed ones. The open one is okay. The snare is okay. I think that transition is a little bit rough. I would give it another bar to kind of fade out, and then you can kick fill into this segment here. You just add an extra bar so that you can fade out a little bit and give the listener some time to realize that something new is coming. Overall very danceable. Honestly, I would just delete the vocals. Like, there's no way you're gonna get them in here, right? Like throughout the whole track, so I would remove them just completely from the track. This track is way too complex to be able to fit in vocals. Like, throughout this whole breakdown, I've not understood a single word of the vocal, so just delete it. I would just get rid of it. There's no need for it. The track is easily full enough without the vocals. As I said, at times it's even a little bit too complex. So you definitely don't need it. Even here, I would say that it's just masking the other elements that are really providing the energy of the track. Still say a little bit busy. There's that one polyrhythm element which kind of messes up the groove for me. The one that just kind of messes me in the wrong way. Here I feel like there's a fill missing. And the fade out. Make sure that it has time to fade out. That's obviously something that you want. I understood one word, reality. I think I heard that too, but I'm not even sure at this point. Like, it was really, really masked there. Overall though, I do think it's a very solid production. Like, definitely you're technically have the like good productional... just you make good productions. There's just some detail things, and then the vocals is just, in my opinion, just a mistake, to be honest. Next up we have Bo. Hey, back at doing some production again. Currently working on this. Looking forward to your thoughts. Foundation _41 _ 2023 -11-05 _1910.mp3. So that's the track that we're going to listen to. Foundation by Bo. Some really cool sound design here. I like this. Maybe a little bit of a slide into it. Nice strong kick and bass. I would love a little bit of stereoization on the bass line. I am a fan of seeing this. I love this. That's very good. Also, a synth like this needs a lot more stereo with a lot more stereo excitement. At this point I would like to hear a snare, and I would also like to hear to go into a normal rolling kick and bass instead of this groove thing that you have. I like it for part of the track, but if you go into the high energy thing, I think it should just be rolling full power. Because this is the something like that, so some kind of rhythm to it, right, to the bass line, which is just done through velocities for anybody wondering. Yeah, here we are. This is full power. I would have loved to see this a little bit earlier. Nice little bloop sound there. Overall, the atmosphere that you're creating and all of the one-shots and the things that you have is very, very nice. I like this synth. When it comes to these kick and bass risers build-up things, I always like to turn them down by like 5 dB. I think you've done that as well here, so that's a good thing. Because of the break, I forgot how loud the kick and bass used to be, but I see that you did it as well. So that's a good thing. The reason for that is so that, because that low end, you want to have the impact from the low end when it's fully playing in the drop. If you already even if you low pass filter it in, you're gonna get the full low end across, right? So the magic of that low end punch that you get when the track starts to play or the drop starts to play is kind of gone, because you kind of spoil it for the listener. I like this melodic bit. Okay, so this is still a work in progress, so it just kind of stops there. Overall, very nice track. Which actually brings us already to the last track of the stream, as it currently stands. There's a new guy posting in the normal feedback. I don't know if he wanted to have feedback on stream or not, but that's not how it works. Either way, the next track is Psycho Journey 150 BPM Master. I think we've heard this like 4 or 5 times already during the feedback streams. I think. By Virtual Instinct, I don't know how many times, but at least more than once, I think. So we'll see if there's anything that's updated. Very loud, complex start. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this much complexity in the intro. It was mono last time by accident. First time. Ah, okay. Any chance you use the same cover art multiple times then? I think there's too much going on in here. High end is a little bit loud. Also the mid-high is like this area here at around 4,500. You could bring that down a bit more. Not really a fan of the snare having so much lower mids. Like the fundamental of it. I think I've mentioned this before in the Histo track, but I'm not a fan of just standard 60 notes, and especially when you're just switching different synth every bar. It doesn't really work for me. Okay, so this is a progressive pattern here, so this is supposed to be nice and calm. It's none of that. It's overproduced, this track. There's too much going on. It's a bit overwhelming, yes, I agree. I hate this clap, snare, whatever it is. I think it's also a bit too loud, but as I said, I hate the low frequencies of it, the lower mids that it has. It also just kind of comes in and stops at random points. Like, I think the biggest problem is that there's no structure to it. Things are just going wee 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 wee, and it's confusing the hell out of me. Sounds like a hi-hat, almost, yeah. The snare. I like this is the better part here. There's just one sequence playing and some one-shots, but even still here there's a lot of complex things going on in the background that don't really need to be there. sounds good. Do you think so, Glyph? I'm gonna be that honest, I don't like this. I wouldn't listen to this. It's too mind-bending, it's too complex. Just like Eclipse said, there is a certain amount of complexity that we're striving for in psytrance. It is better to do things in an easier way. If you can get away with doing it in a simpler way, then it's better. But if you go too complex, then it's too much. The last episode of Eclipse's revisions, you should see that, and then focus on the last track. It has the exact same issue as this one is. It's just all complexity and all full power, like full tension, high energy, everything high, always energy, always more, faster. There is no contrast in this track because everything is at this high energy level. There's no part where it's like this, because from the intro everything was already here. So it feels like there's no progression in here, which funnily enough makes it sound very bland. As much as there's going on, it sounds very boring because we've been listening to random noises intersecting each other for 6 minutes now. I do grant you, yes, the stereo field is nice. It's the entire album all at once, yes. I'm sorry, I don't want to insult anybody, I don't want to be here and be so negative. But I just think that if I don't say these things, then people are going to make the same thing over and over again. Even here in the outro, like, listen to what's going on. An outro for me, I have a one shot with a long delay tail every 4 bars, maybe 1 or 2 simple sequences below that, and that's it. To be honest, I couldn't even check the cleanliness of the kick and bass because there's no part where I could have paused that track to just get a clean vision of the kick and bass. You want to know something, Virtual Instinct? Eclipse also said, and he has the experience to back it up because he has been at like big festivals and everything like that. He said that people go craziest when it's just kick and bass. And I think that's a good thing to take away for your tracks as well, is that you're just going over the top here. You could remove 2/3 of your elements and still have enough, I think, for a full track. So yeah, those were all of the tracks. I hope the feedback was, even though the last bit was maybe a little bit on the negative side, I do agree. I would say the kick and bass was good. Where to send tracks? Well, I was actually trying to end the stream because I was out of tracks. I'll work on it then. To be honest, I would just start a new track and just listen to a couple of reference tracks and see how many things that they use. Thanks for your honest and direct analysis of the track. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I do think sometimes I'm a bit negative, but I do think on the other hand, if I'm just gonna sit here and put on a mask and say positive things in something that I just that one technically doesn't work, and two is I subjectively don't like, subjectively don't like, then I'm not being honest with you guys, and I think that's much worse than sometimes being negative. I'll catch the next one. That's nice. The next one will be next Sunday. I do one of these every Sunday. And for next Sunday, when you're in here, !feedback will bring you in the Discord. And then you can just put your track in here, even right before the stream. Once I put out the notification, you guys can start submitting your tracks. And then I'll just listen to them on stream. Okay, thanks bro. I'll start another one with a reference track. Negative is positive if you learn from it. That's true, yes. I'd love to hear what you come up with next, Virtual Instinct. I'd love to see what the way that you adapt this feedback into the next track. Thank you all for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I hope that the feedback was helpful. And I hope that I have some time and some energy to stream next week, also during the week, because I did really enjoy my stream yesterday as well. So I'll see if I can do it maybe once or twice more than just the Sunday afternoon streams and just only doing feedback. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye bye.